Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another deck profile. This time we're gonna go over the legendary Super Saiyan Son Goku leader from Clash of Fates. This is a super fun deck I've been playing lately, and it's really cool. I think this is a really good build for it because I do think you need to splash blue in order to keep a lot of things relevant. Mono green on its own is a little weak outside of like cell chains, so I think this is a really good list you can play. Before we get into this video, if you're new to the channel, hitting that sub button, hitting that like button would be super duper dope for you guys. We do have a Discord server link in the description below if you want to talk about anything Dragon Ball Super related, get some advice on your decks, things like that. And if you're a longtime fan of the channel, you can check out my Patreon down in the description below. I've been posting a lot of competitive articles lately, so check that out. I've got a few Patreon shoutouts to do. I've actually got a lot to do, but I've got so many that I'm going to do 5 now. And then, if I didn't get you in this one, I'll get you in the future. So shouts out to Ty, DeJollner, Proto Riku, Danny, and Ian. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. You guys are awesome. Alright, so we'll get into this video. So we got the Son Goku leader. The first time we go Super Saiyan from Clash of Fates. It's pretty dope. So he is a burst 2 leader on the backside. Attack anything, mill top 2 of your deck, discard a green card, draw 2 cards. So he empties out your deck really fast, which can kind of be a problem sometimes in extra extended games, but usually it's not too bad. And you want to flip as quickly as possible so that you can eventually stop doing that. You want to flip like turn 3, turn 4. So you do that, and he awakens a 4 life, untaps 2 energy, which is really important for a card we play in the deck later. And then he becomes Son Goku, the legendary Super Saiyan. So he has Sparking 5 when this card attacks, draw 1 card, and if you have a Krillin in your drop area, he gains plus 5k and double strike for the turn. So those green based double strike leaders is 1 card you got to play with those guys, and that's in the deck, and we'll talk about it in just a little bit. So we'll get into the main deck. So we've got 2 Shoutouts Figure and Majesty. I kind of want to come back to this once we get into the more of the 2 drops of the deck. So we'll go into the blue package. So blue is something that I mentioned before. You really want to try and splash it if you want your deck to play at the top top levels of competitive play. Senzu Bean is just that important. It's that important for defense. You do play a Deadly Defender-esque card in this deck, so you want to sometimes be able to protect it if you have to. Yeah, certain instances like that. So with Clash of Fates coming out, we got another card that actually makes blue a really good splashable engine. You want to play like somewhere between 11 and 13 cards of an engine if you want to just charge 1 of it, and all we want to charge is 1 blue in this deck. So we got 4 Borgos, just your typical come down draw card, but it does have that added bonus of being able to turn off Storm. And this deck, not having to face something like Storm, is really helpful. This is one of those decks that would struggle heavily against Storm. So the fact that we can play Borgos in the main deck is really helpful with that. For Senzu Bean, sometimes you got to play that extra defense. You got to get more value on your defense. If you guys haven't checked out my teammate Pat O'Neill's video about defensive cards in this game, why Senzu Bean holds the game on its back, you should check that out. This card is that important. I just think it's better than mono green. There's not that many more green cards I would really want to fit in this deck if I had the choice. Then we have 3 Awakening Talent Pan. It's a cheap way to awaken. All you need to hit is 1, because after you have 1, you're basically guaranteed to awaken unless you run into something like a Shocking Death Ball, but you got to play around that. So only 3 for that reason. And 2 Pilaf to round off the splashable blue engine. Pilaf is just an amazing card for, the Shenron matchups, which, Storm being something that's going to take a back seat, in my opinion, after Clash comes out. Pilaf is going to be a really important main deck card to stop a lot of the Shenron matchups. You play the Pilaf, you counter the attack, you negate the triple attack, so they only get to swing with it once, they waste their leader effect. It's really important in the matchups you can get it off, so we play it for that reason. Then we have our normal negates, 4 Shocking Death Ball, free negate, you guys know what it does by now. And 2 King Vegeta surprise attacks. So this card's really interesting. So I mentioned before, we do have a Krillin kind of Deadly Defender in the main deck, and you want that thing to get KO'd so you can activate your Final Showdown Goku, which I will talk about a little bit later. But there are certain instances where you have certain kinds of trades, right? So let's say, for example, your opponent has 2 barrier cards on board. Let's say one's like a Vegeta or a Deadly Defender, and then it could be any other barrier card. So a nifty little combo you can do is you can let them swing into the Persistent Assault Krillin. They may combo to take it out if you're playing defense on your life. They may not, depending on what the situation is. If you really want to KO the attacking card, because you want to deal with 2 barrier cards, you can King Vegeta's surprise attack the Persistent Assault Krillin, and one of 2 things is going to happen. They either comboed enough to KO the Krillin, in which case you'll drop your Final Showdown Goku, or they didn't KO the Krillin and then they just lost their barrier battle card anyway. So, different trade-off like that. There are going to be certain instances where you can use the King Vegeta's surprise attack combo and the Persistent Assault Krillin combo to KO 2 battle cards. It is a little bit rare, but it has been relevant in what I've been playing with the deck, so I like it for that reason. Only had a 2 of. And then we have 2 feet Kamehameha. If I wasn't playing King Vegeta's Surprise Attack, I would probably bump up to 3, but for the sake of having too many extra cards, I didn't want to include 3 in the deck. But since our leader is base double strike on the back, giving him critical plus 15k, a 35k double strike crit swing is really, really threatening. So that's in the deck for that reason. Now we come into a few of the new cards. We've got Fledgling Duo Son Gohan. He's got Barrier, a 2-drop, and when he's on the board, he reduces the cost of Krillins in your hand by 1. So it does not reduce specified costs. So like the 1-drop blocker Krillin does not become free. That would have been pretty cool, but that doesn't work like that. And then we have 2 double impact Krillin. So this is unfortunately is not going to be reduced by your Fledgling Duo Son Gohan because it does cost 2 specified green. But this card just is really good for a lot of scenarios. So he's one of the cards you can bring back off Shenron Figure of Majesty. He can pop 2-drop barriers. So you have things like the new feature of Goku coming out in Clash of Fates. You've got like your opponent's Gotens. You've got the Zeno Maiden matchup where your opponent's got the 2-drop barrier, Brienne. So it has a lot of niche uses, and it's a Krillin, so it gets your leader effect off, and it gets your Final Showdown Son Goku effect off. So really, really good. It's kind of a way you can trigger that earlier in the game if they do happen to KO your Krillin, and it's just got utility off of the Figure of Majesty. Then we got 4 defensive stance SS Vegeta. I see really no reason to play the Bulma super combo because the Sparking 5-1 could just become live way earlier. So in my opinion, it's just way better. I mean, you can use the Bulma one at 5, but it doesn't have the base 10k, and it just doesn't seem very worth it. So I opted to go for the defensive stance SS Vegeta in this case. And then we have 3 Preemptive Strike, the new counterplay coming out of Clash of Fates, and this is one of the reasons why I like playing this deck, because I love counterplay cards in this game, and it's so cool. I mean, it's a great cost. I mean, maybe I'll do a discussion video just talking about this card in the future, but it's so amazing. I mean, the fact that your leader's an untapped leader means you can end certain turns with 2 up just for the Preemptive Strike, and in certain matchups, this card just dominates, and if it's not live, if it's dead, you charge it, or you discard it for your leader effect on the front side. So it's got a whole lot of uses. Really, really good card. Then we've got 2 Chile the Beautiful. So this is for more of your slow, grindy matchups, not really, necessarily for your aggro matchups or for your, slightly faster matchups. It's a good card to bring back off Figure of Majesty, and it just makes your opponent lose cards slowly over the course of the game. So it's a 2-drop 15k, so pretty hard to punch over. Can actually be a decent threat, but when you're doing your things like your Final Showdown Son Goku or your Fledgling Duo Krillin or your Double Impact Krillin, you're making your opponent neg cards from their hand. So it just really helps you win out those slow, grindy matchups. Then we got our Krillin package, the 4 Fledgling Duo Krillin and the 4 Persistent Assault Krillin. So the Deadly Defender one is a Persistent Assault Krillin. He comes down, he draws a card, he has Barrier, and your opponent has to attack him before they attack your leader. Fledgling Duo is a 4-drop 15k blocker, so pretty steeply costed, but the Gohan does reduce their costs, and when he comes into play, he KOs anything. So not having a restriction on that KO is pretty nice. So like, for example, you go up against Cell Chain, you can KO that with pretty much no problem, which is pretty cool. So then we come down to the meat of the deck. We got the 3 Final Showdown Son Goku. So this is the new super coming out of Clash of Fates. It's a 5-drop, has double strike, and with a Krillin with an energy cost of 4 or less in your battle area is KO'd. If your leader card is green or black, play this card from your hand, and you cannot play another one for the duration of the turn. And when you play this card from your hand, you can choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring Barrier, and KO it. The ignoring Barrier part is absolutely insane. So the thing about this is the thing, right? Storm going away, Gogeta 7, Shenron is going to be a really, really strong deck. That's just a matter of a fact. You have a lot of different things you can draw into this deck to kind of out that. You've got your Pilafs, you've got your Negates, you've got, if you have the Persistent Assault Krillin on board, you have a couple options. You can draw into the King Vegeta Surprise Attack, give the Krillin Revenge, and answer the Gogeta that way. Or if the Gogeta KOs the Krillin, and you have the Final Showdown Son Goku in your hand after they Gogeta you're able to bring that down and KO the Gogeta even though it has Barrier, which is absolutely amazing. You end the triple attack right there, which is so good. So you have technically, what, 3, 5, 9 different options to draw into to help yourself, stave off all that aggression from that Gogeta 7 after they, rip your hand apart. So really, really solid in my opinion. I think it's a really cool deck for that reason. It does have, a good niche use in the metagame, which always is good for any deck, even if it's rogue or anything like that. And then, I'm guilty of this, for the flavor. We do have the one Awakening Rage Son Gohan. It's not the best card in the deck by any means, but it's one of my favorite looking SRs from the entire game. And so what it does is, you probably haven't seen it in a while. Evolve for 5 energy, 3 green, 2 colorless over Son Goku. It's got double strike, but if you have a Krillin or drop area, it becomes a triple striker. And when you play this card, choose any number of your opponent's battle cards with energy costs of total of 6 and KO them. So it's a slightly beefier KO, I guess you can say. It does gain triple attack, so it can close out games for you. which is pretty cool. I'm just playing the one of because I really, even if I just have to charge it, I just like having the card in my deck because it just fits the whole theme, and it's one of my favorite looking cards in the game. But that can definitely come out for like another Preemptive Strike, or maybe another Awakening Talent Pan, or another Chile, things like that. You can definitely, you know, trim that down and put in some other consistency cards. But this is the list that I've been playing. I've really been liking it. So let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. I'm really interested to know your guys' thoughts on the deck. Let me know about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you like the deck profile. My name is Joey. This is Crosswell CCG, and I will see you in the next video. Hey, welcome to the end card, and thank you so much for sitting through that, because honestly, I'm just doing this until they make a Digimon trading card game. So if you like Dragon Ball Super for some reason, give it a sub up above, maybe check out some of our other content, and do not forget, Digimon is way better than Pokemon. With that being said, we will see you next time.